All right, guys. So I've been watching a lot of TikTok videos lately, a lot of YouTube videos, and everybody's talking about how the job market sucks. It's kind of like the number one thing people are talking about, and I wanted to comment on it as a 45-year-old guy who's been in the job market for a long time. I've had my own company, which I still do, in the security private investigations field, a little bit of a law enforcement background. And I've been following the economy. I've been following these TikTok videos, and I really think when it comes down to the job market, a lot of people just got bullshit degrees where like a million people got the same degree, and there's way too many people in that field, and you're just not going to get a job in that field for the pay that you want. And a lot of this was basically colleges lying to you, your guidance counselors lying to you, you just made bad financial decisions. Me personally, I never got a college degree, and it was one of the smartest things I ever did. But let's watch some of these videos and comment a little bit on the current job market. So these are mostly younger people in their 20s talking about how they can't find a job. Let's see what's going on out there.
When you're trying to apply for a job, your ratio of even getting the job that you're applying for is 0 to none. Also, if you have a job, the job market is so bad that your job is overworking you and still paying you the same salary. They're switching up schedules on you, giving you more work, less pay, cutting budgets on you, pretty much jerking you around all around because they know where the job market is. They know even if you're looking for somewhere else to go, that's also going to probably jerk you around, that they could take advantage of you. Right now, it's like employment abuse going on. Like, you literally are underpaid, tired, and stressed out if you have a job. And if you don't have a job, you're stressed out because you can't find a job and you've been applying to over 100 places pretty much a week, or you've been unemployed for more than 2 years trying to find a job. The job market right now is so bad that you're literally getting abused as a human.
Again, so the only way that could even happen where an employer doesn't respect you and an employer is treating you like shit like that, if there's 1,000 other applicants that they can hire at the snap of a finger to do your same job. It basically means you're worthless. Your degree is worthless, and the company knows it's worthless. And if you give them any shit, you call out sick, they'll just basically find somebody else. That doesn't happen in a field where they need you. For example, I come from the corporate security field. I used to hire subcontractors to do investigative work. I had to pay all this money to get them licensed. I had to make sure they didn't have tattoos all over their body and look like crap. They could talk to clients and things like that. You're not firing those people because there's not a lot of qualified people out there that can do that job, former police officers, things like that. But if you have some job like she has, and she doesn't say the name of the job, but it's probably some corporate receptionist or sales or something like that, there's 1,000 other people ready to take that job. And that's why your employer, you're not valuable. I hate to say it, but you're just not valuable. And it's because you made a mistake getting the wrong type of degree. So here's another one. This lady's talking about how she can't find a job and she's going to start basically sending or selling pictures of her feet.
The job market right now is shit. I'm currently looking for a job and I don't have that much experience, so I'm just looking for an entry level position, okay? Nothing too crazy. I'm like looking at these entry level positions. Let me know why one of them said 8 fucking years of experience. 8 years? You see, I'm no mathematician, but I graduated from college 2 years ago, and the last time I checked, college was 4 years? So 4 plus 2 is 6, right? So the extra 2 years would have meant that I would have been in high school. 8 years of industrial experience, girl, I was still busy learning what the nucleus of a cell was. Like, you mean 8 years of industrial experience? No. Wait, but hold on, dude.
So normally, like, so she's in a weird profession like industrial experience. My take on this one is she didn't even need a college degree. She basically just needed to get some sort of internship with a corporation who does that sort of thing and get the experience, and then she could probably get the job. Another popular misconception, like there's very few jobs out there right now where you really need a college degree. Like if you're in like a science or like an engineer, of course you're gonna become a lawyer or a doctor. Yeah, obviously you need to go to college, but most of these other jobs that you see people getting, like you didn't even need to get a college degree. Like I have so many friends who got 4-year degrees, master's degrees, and they're doing work right now that they didn't even need to get a degree to do. I have a friend who got a master's degree in physical education, and now he's bartending in Orlando. Like, it just, oh, and he has like $100,000 in student debt, and that's a whole nother thing. So another thing is people are getting these college degrees when they should have been going out there getting experience. I can say that from my line of work, we have a lot of private investigators who come in with a 4-year degree in criminal justice, and you don't even need a 4-year degree. So if I see somebody with a 4-year degree in criminal justice, or they were in the military and working as an investigator for a couple of years after that, obviously I'm going to hire them over somebody with a 4-year degree. So that's my take on that one. Again, the same kind of thing. You're getting a degree when you didn't need one, and there's thousands of other people that the company can hire over you.
Degree in English and Communications. I acknowledge I shouldn't have gotten my degree in English and Communications. I work at the bank. I do not make a livable wage at the bank. So from 8:15 to 6:15, that's right, 10 hours at the bank every day, I belong to corporate. But more likely than that, it's more like 7 to 7 with traffic. After my shift at the bank, I have to go door dashing because the bank does not pay me a livable wage. Starbucks paid me a livable wage. So I go back to Starbucks, try to get my job back. They won't hire me back, despite saying I'm rehireable. I have 5 years of coffee experience. I have 10 years of customer service experience. None of that is enough to even get me a serving job at a local brunch place. So what the fuck am I doing?
So here's my thing with this one. So if she works at the bank probably pays like $20 an hour, between 15 and $20 an hour. Okay. So say she's making 40 grand a year at the bank, and then she does door dashing on the side. Say she's making an extra $50 every night she does door dashing. That's probably like 50, 60 grand a year. You can easily get a place with like a roommate situation. I mean, she seems like a younger person right here. You're not going to be able to afford like a $500,000 house at 22 years old. You know, when I was 22, 23 years old, I lived in a big mansion, and I rented one room in that mansion for $300 a month. I mean, it was great. I had like a bunch of roommates, and I had my own space and everything. So I think this is another situation. She did it right, maybe not spending a lot of money in college, but I think this may be a situation where people are living above their means. You're working full time at the bank, they're probably giving you health benefits, and then you're door dashing on the side. You should definitely be able to live. And I think when a lot of these people say they're not making a livable wage, it's because they went out and they got an $800 a month car payment. They went out, they're taking all these lavish vacations. They're spending all sorts of money on Amazon. They're getting coffees out every day, these lattes. You know, she used to work at Starbucks, so I could see that happening. I think with this situation, it's more living within your means. All right, this guy kind of sums up a lot of the problems too. There's just way too many now. There's way too many people now with college degrees. You know, I said this for my line of work. Like, say, for example, right now there's 1,000 private investigators in the Maryland area where I live. But 5 years from now, there's 500,000 private investigators. What's that going to do to the pay for private investigators? It's going to bring it down. It's going to make it almost impossible to get a job. And if you do get a job as a private investigator or in the security field, they're going to treat you like crap because they can get rid of you at any moment and just hire somebody else and treat them like shit too. This is why it's a bad idea to go to college unless, like I said before, you want to get into a science, doctor, lawyer, things that you really have to get into college for. People have been scammed with this college garbage for the last 20 years. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and they can't even find a decent job. This guy kind of sums it up a little bit.
Every single month in the past 4 decades. So if you're having trouble finding a new job as a recent college graduate, it is not your fault. It is the job market. It's horrendous for recent college graduates. Even top MBA programs like Wharton and Booth and NYU Stern are having their worst job placements in years. They have seen nothing like this. There are surveys about recent Harvard MBA grads still being unemployed 3-4 months into their job search. We're also seeing law school apps surge, which is also something we saw in 2008 around the Great Recession, because people are looking around and they're not seeing a lot of options. They're thinking, I might as well just go to law school, which to this day does still have a really good return if you're going into things like big law. But I want to talk about this for 2 reasons, and the first is degree inflation overall. So the share of people with degrees now is about 1/3 higher than it was prior to the Great Recession.
And that's kind of what I just said. Like, your degree don't mean shit anymore. It's kind of like you're the one guy who could do like a special, backflip in the Olympics. You're the one guy who could do it, and the next year everybody can do it. Well, you're not special anymore. So 20 years ago, 30 years ago, college degree, yeah, you got a college degree. It looks great on your resume. Great. You paid like 20 or 30 grand to get it. You'll probably get that money back. But now it just doesn't matter. Like, you should see some of the people coming out of college. And I'll do a quick, I'm actually going to show you guys what's going on here. So right here, for example, you have, I guess this is a black college somewhere. I don't know where it is. Here's their graduation. So take a quick look at this video. So my point is, like, if you're a college graduate and they're also college graduates, your entire college degree has just been devalued. I saw a video not too long ago where somebody with Down syndrome, high functioning Down syndrome, ended up getting their college degree. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's great for that person with Down syndrome, and I totally respect that person, but what does that do to everybody else with a college degree? Like if the person with Down syndrome is getting a college degree, or these ghetto hood rats right here, they have a college degree. My point being is, college just isn't what it used to. And I think people are starting to realize that right now, going to a 4-year college, coming out in debt to make like 15, 16 bucks an hour. And I think it's also gotten to the point where a lot of these jobs that people are trying to get, they don't even want to see college on your resume. It's just like, ooh, you went to college for 4 years. You probably just drank, smoked pot, and were probably indoctrinated to be very liberal. And we don't want those people working for us because they're very entitled. They quit. They don't show up. And there's actually other TikTok videos of people saying, oh, I've taken my education off of my resume, and now I'm starting to get job interviews. I can tell you right now, as somebody, I have a detective agency in Maryland, I would never hire anybody who went to college. I'm all looking for experience. I get it. For my line of work, you don't really need a college degree anyway, but I don't even want to see that on your resume. I want to see somebody from the military or with like investigative background. Maybe you did an internship somewhere. So I think a lot of the generation coming out right now is you just got worthless degrees, and now you can't get a job in your field, and you're probably going to be forced to just take like a retail job. Or I've seen other videos where people get their CDL license. They get their trucker's license. There's an influx of jobs. You can see it right here. You can be a police officer and make $70,000, $95,000 a year. Here's a CDL rear loader driver, $200 a day, special agent, $115,000 a year. Here's my line of work right here. You can go out right now, armed security officer in Maryland. $27 an hour. You don't need a college degree for that. You just have to be able to talk, be able to get a handgun permit. Go watch the movie Armed and Dangerous with John Candy. That's all you got to do. Be able to show up. You sit on your ass all day, and you make $27 an hour plus overtime. Special agent, criminal investigator. 40. They're so desperate they're giving people a $40,000 recruitment incentive. Here's a driver, regional driver, $2,000 a week. Special agent for health services, you're investigating like malpractice at like hospitals, $100,000 a year. CDL driver, here's an entry-level CDL driver. You can get a CDL for $1,500, and in 4 weeks, you're making $24 an hour to start with job security, overtime. Probably after a couple years, you're making $40, $50 an hour. So my point is, a lot of people just got into the wrong field. A lot of people don't know how to interview. A lot of people show up to interviews looking like shit. A lot of people don't know how to write a resume. For me, I'll never have gaps in my resume. I'll just lie. For me with like resumes, my resume is like 50% true, 50% lies. I'll always, if I have a gap in employment, I'll just make something up. I have fake references, and I highly recommend people do this. You can go on Google Voice, and you can basically say, I worked for Mike's Trucking Company. And you can go on Google Voice, get a fake number, get a fake voicemail, get a fake number, make a voicemail that says, you've reached Mike's Trucking Company, leave a message, and you can leave that number on as a reference, and freaking have your mom call them back as the human resources lady. I used to have a guy, I used to do a voice, and I would call references back as a fake voice, basically saying I was a reference for Mike. So you have to be smart about getting the job. You can't be honest. Your resume has to look good. And you just have to know how to play the game. But if you're in a field right now and you're trying to get a job where 10 million other people have your same qualifications and your same degree, you just have to basically look in the mirror and say, I fucked up. Now I got to go get a job bartending where I'll probably make $100,000 a year doing that. Or I got to go get a CDL license. Maybe I'll become a security officer. Maybe I'll become an investigator. Maybe I'll become a cop. I mean, there's so many possibilities out there. Like, you can go into cosmetology. You can become a plumber. I have a friend who's a plumber, makes a ton of money. You can become an electrician. You can be an electrician's helper for $25 an hour until you actually learn how to become an electrician and take the test. So my point is, I see these videos every day, people talking about blah, 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 blah. I can't find the job. The job market sucks. Honestly, guys, the economy is actually pretty good right now. I get the cost of living's high with car payments and housing's really high, but there are a lot of jobs out there. They're just not the jobs you want. Here's another one that says it's a lot quieter in the clubs. This is talking about how Gen Z workers are going into sex work as a shortcut to the American dream, and now even those jobs are gone. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what do you expect for that? Becoming a stripper is not a full-time job. You might be able to do that for a couple years, but yeah, the whole thing is just weird, guys. Anyway, that's my take on it. Yeah, if you got a college degree and you can't find a job after 4 months, you have to just look yourself in the mirror and say, I fucked up. I got the wrong degree, and you're just gonna have to get something else. Because I can tell you right now, in the security field, right now, I can go on Indeed. I could get an armed security job. If I applied to this armed security job right here, they would call me back tomorrow. I know I would get it. During the pandemic, when my business was completely slow, I got security jobs for like $30 an hour, where I just sat in my car and did absolutely nothing. And they loved to have me. They loved to have me. Government security jobs where you just have to be well spoken. You need to be able to talk to people. You need to have like a little bit of a personality. They'll pay you $35 an hour. There's just so many jobs that I know. Any of these jobs, not like the federal jobs that are hard to get, like the FBI jobs. If I really want to be a police officer, I could do that too. I have a police license, but then I have to like do a bunch of other stuff. But I can get pretty much any of these security jobs. I could guarantee any of these security jobs I apply to, I'd minimally get an interview. And that's just because a lot of people didn't go into that field. So if you're not getting hired in your field, you have to go into a field where people are actually hiring. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.